let me talk to you today about the plight of the oldest profession in the world. That's teaching, though. Yeah, you may think being a mercenary is the second oldest profession in the world. Okay. But if that, in fact, is the third oldest. And what people take to be the first, the most oldest profession in the world is in the second spot. Because believe me, whoever may have indulged in that profession for the first time would have been taught by someone about it. That someone could be that person themselves, but then the teaching was there. So let's establish that the oldest profession in the world is teaching. Let's move ahead through the times about this. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Dev Maheshwar, Guru Sakshat Par Brahma, Tasmay Shri Guru. गुरु गोविंद दोनों खड़े काके लागू पाए, काए लागू पाए. गुरु में गोविंद है समाये. That was there. And then with time it changed to मास्टर की जेब में बटुआ. ऐसा मजाक मैंने आज तक नहीं सुना. That of course is from the poem Relam Pale. And wish things would have stopped there, but nope, they continued. We've had people making fun of teachers throughout the ages, ridiculing them, calling them names. A shout out to Lizard for those who know who I mean. A lot is expected from a principal or a teacher and an assistant teacher. Agreed? Everybody wants the teacher to be Robbie Williams from Dead Poets Society or Amir Khan from Tare Zameen Par. But yeah, without taking the risk, without doing something different with the kids. We do have the teachers who have been putting themselves through the ages. And believe me, they have been exploited for it throughout. Think about the teacher whose wife had to take flour, dissolve it in water when her child asked for milk in the ages of the epics, or the ones who I refer as following a hand-to-mouth existence. Be it the pay or the perks, teachers are exploited. And earlier they were respected in it, but now maintaining respect and dignity is something that's turning into an uphill task. To go to the vernacular, पहले शिक्षा के व्यवसाय में इज्जत मिलती थी, अब अपनी इज्जत बचानी पड़ती है. Earlier there was respect in the profession of education, teaching, but now one needs to safeguard his or her respect. Let's come to the peanut shells that the teachers are paid. 550 rupees is something which an unskilled laborer can get at a construction site in India. Teachers get 4 to 5 to 6,000. 10, 15. Not enough to meet the need. Be it a banker or anyone working in an office or a company, every target that is met is followed by an incentive, and usually nowadays the incentives are cash incentives. If we keep that as a criteria, let's and come back to the what the teachers go through with a few examples. It would be a little bit clearer of the plight I'm talking about. So every target incentive usually cash incentive. Done? Okay. So every stack of books a teacher corrects, is a target met? So for every stack of books the teacher corrects, should that person get an incentive? A cash one? Nah. There's yet another stack of book. Okay, every annual course which is completed is followed by another year starting without a break usually, especially in India and CBSE schools. Forget incentive, there's a lot of scrutiny and criticism that teachers face. That is something which takes the toll on the teachers. The teacher has not pointed out the mistakes properly, or the teachers have pointed out my child's mistake and that has demotivated him or her or it. That of course are two ways. I remember one of my principals when I was working as a teacher, he asked me to get all my exercise books which I had corrected during the course of the week on a Sunday after he had read 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 newspapers which he was getting at home. He said okay. I got all 300 odd of them. On the 235th one, I remember 235, while going through it, he points out, here this place is missing a full stop. What type of corrections are you doing? Aren't you paying attention? I said, sorry sir, my mistake. Had the honor to work through these taskmasters and survive them. And believe me, anything that doesn't kill you does make you stronger in this regard. So yeah, no incentive, hardly any pay, and it is amazing the thing teachers have to go through. Forget respect, teachers are now a target for ridicule. Earlier it was Bechara master, and now is Ek Adna Sa master. Bechara means poor, so poor teacher, and one Adna could be petty or small or insignificant, an insignificant teacher. These are the phrases which are used for teachers. My personal one and the one I usually use is Ek Adna Sa master, an insignificant teacher. For my that's what I have used, and yes, people do get offended by it, but then that's what it is. And believe me, we Indians at least are better off than the Americans. Yes, people ridicule us in classrooms, in movies, in advertisements, but boy, they aren't whipping out the guns and pointing and shooting them at us as of yet. So, and yes, would like to use this incident to pay tribute to Mr. Gomes, a teacher who I had and who was shot by a student or by students or a group of students when he shifted schools and moved to Lucknow. Mr. Gomes, yeah, we do remember you. And believe me, while we all wished something bad would have happened to you, but we were all hurt, at least I was, when you met your fate. Yeah, so people don't actually shoot at teachers as of now. But yeah, the ridicule is always there. Now, people, they pay a lot to enroll the children into schools and institutes of the choice. Everybody wants to give the best of best to his or his child. Agreed? So the amount of money and finances involved is a lot. I do agree at times, and the problem arises when people try to take teachers to task for the fee that they have paid, for the books they have bought their own children. The teacher, believe me, is not getting a cut of the books which are being sold to your children. The teacher is not getting the money which you are paying as fee transferred directly in his or her or its account. They work on a salary which is very less, believe me, for the effort and work they are putting in. And yet, the teachers were pinpointed, oh, the school is overcharging, what are you doing with my child? I have had cases when a few parents came to me personally and said that the children got very less marks, I should do something about it. That's fine. I'll make a new fresh report card and I'll give your child 105% out of 100. When 97 isn't enough or 87 isn't enough, you want, I'll write 105 out of 100. Or wait, why go for a fresh one? I'll strike off the printed marks and I'm gonna write them with a pen and I'll countersign them. That did shut a few of them down. And yes, they did look at me. Let's get the adjective out. So the fee the parents pay, the amount they spend on the transport and the books, is something between them and the school. It does not come to the teacher directly. The teacher is not responsible for it. But that does not give anyone a license to insult, ridicule, ill-treat a teacher. That is something which is starting. We are paying the fees, which is very high, and so you teachers are thieves. So sorry, we aren't. A small amount of dough with some ketchupish material, some cheese-ish stuff and toppings are thrown over and called a pizza. People favor that. They don't look at, okay, the cost price of the dough and this and that and everything. They happily pay. But when it comes to schools, oh, you're overcharging us for the books and this. You're taking commissions out of things. Anyway, amazing. Any trip which is organized across the country is met with disdain initially, and people do go around saying that the school is making money out of it. So let's put it right. A school which is sending your child could be a 7-day tour to a NASA station in the US, or a 2-hour one to the local park, is making money on the amount you're getting. The cost of the ticket is not added. Nothing is added. And nobody bothers about the school's infrastructure and facilities and the teaching staff used for organizing these trips. Forget trips. The school transport is amazing. I mean, let's look at it. Any school you take across the length and breadth of the country, the transport, yes, it may cost a bit, but is in fact heavily subsidized. Usually it costs less than the amount people would have paid for public transport. And yet, the teachers are thieves because the school is charging for transport. I've got schools where the tuition fee for the month was around 1,000 rupees. And of course, parents did crib about the schools overcharging them and the teachers being thieves. When they actually had a maid in their house who just did the dishes and helped in chopping of the vegetables for less than an hour every day for 1,500. So there's a group of 15 to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 people who are taking care of your child. You say if you have to pay 33.33 odd rupees for them per day is high. When a person who is coming to your house for less than half an hour, one single person, and helping you do your cleaning and chop off your vegetables, is being paid 50 rupees per day. Do the basic math. The teachers are, believe me, not getting the amount which you pay in their bank accounts. The thing is, teachers don't even take the sample books which are provided or which are made available to them by the book publishers for reference. These private books, the books by the private publishers, they are taken to the school library, and from there the teachers refer them. I mean, you've got MRs, medical representatives, who are organizing, what do you call that? Foreign tours and other things for doctors. Being a doctor is also being a professional. The other professional is a thief. If there's a doubt about him or her or it, taking a book from a publisher, a simple book, a pen. Now we come to the pay. The pay, as I talked about earlier, is less than petty. It's embarrassing at times. And now come to the exploitation part. Let's talk from the beginning, at the time of negotiation of salary. It starts with massive exploitation. I remember I've kept 2 teachers for assisting me in the job I was doing. One was offered 42,000 rupees, the other 38. They were assisting me for the job I was doing alone. And boy, you won't believe me. At that time, my salary was 24. Everything was fine. But then the gentleman, Akash, if I remember right, hi Akash, was photocopying the offer letters for these newly appointed teachers. He pointed this out to me. And all the logic, all the sense of being in a noble profession went out of the window on facing the pity in his eyes. Yeah. So that's where it starts. But then I agreed to a pay package. I'm not one to crib or complain. Salaries are delayed. Ideally, they should be disbursed by the 7th or 9th or 10th of the month. Usually, on an average, they are given around the 20th of the month. There are schools which delay them even further. And of course, there are things where 1 month's salary or 2 months' salary or 3 months' salary is kept as a security deposit. A mild practice. I'm so happy at least that this is something that we in the education sector are getting rid of. Or the certificates are kept as long as the security is not deposited, but then we are trying to get rid of it. So yeah, 1 or 2 months salary or 3 months at times as security deposit. So far so good. Everybody's agreed to it. That's something I agreed to. I have no problem with it. When it comes for a teacher to leave the institute, There the real thing starts. You complete your notice period, you hand over your responsibility, you work till the last working minute of the last working day, and you are informed that you'll be able to collect your dues later, and usually they aren't cleared. I mean, I'll give you my personal examples. There are 36 odd thousand rupees in one school, 17 days salary in a school in Ooty. I helped out a school struggling to maintain itself in the city of Bhatinda for 3 months. And yes, everything from the board examination to helping them out of the blunders they had done, everything I took care of. First day on the job, I actually had to go to a police station because a parent thought, being a lady, it would be easier for her to create a scene after dialing the number to the police to collect the admit card of a child than to pay the 6 months fee which was due. Yeah, so anyway, I had to go to the police station, taking the lady in my own vehicle, school vehicle, after offering a cup of tea and handing over the admit card to her in front of the police inspector. Anyway, did that. Around 3 odd months I was there with that institute, and then I wasn't paid a single rupee, so I said it's not possible to continue. 2 months of holidays are coming, you can appoint somebody else. Left the place. I'm yet to collect the 3 months odd salary from them. Forget that. There's a person whose institute I was there, who I did trust. The gentleman is supposed still to pay me let me get his exact figure. I think it's 3,43,800 rupees, if I'm correct. Yeah, 3,43,800 rupees from 2015, around my 8 month odd salary. So that's my personal experience. But believe me, practically every teacher who leaves a job has his or her its due pending with most schools across the country. So yeah, while a teacher needs to submit a security, the person has to forego his or her its dues once the tenure is over. Oh yeah, coming to the 3,43,800 rupees which is due to me. I've raised the complaint from December 2015 with the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. I was working in Uttar Pradesh at that time. Till date, I have not got any amount, and I do complain every 6 odd months or so, hoping that this time it will help. The DM, the Education Department, the Chief Minister's office, the Labour Department have not been able to help me out. And a teacher who's supposed to pay all the taxes is not protected under the Indian labour law. That's the lesson I've got by all this process. A teacher is not protected by the Indian government laws. Believe me, all it would require is an NOC, a no objection certificate, which a person can submit with the board of education the school follows and the state education department, that he or she or it has received all his due 1 month after leaving the job. That simple thing, one form submitted online, can get this exploitation stopped. But no, it's not done. And if you think the government teachers are having it happy, believe me, they aren't. A friend of mine joined the government services as a teacher. He had to do practically everything apart from teaching. The fellow did it. First 3 months, he had to borrow money from his parents to meet the expenses of traveling. because he wasn't paid. Oh yes, he was paid for 3 months at a go suddenly out of the blue, but then it did take time. And government teachers being asked to get people into line to collect rations during the COVID-19 crisis, or is something which would have been scary for the parents, their family members, spouses and kids. But that's something which has happened once in a while. Yet the government teachers are doing practically everything, from election duties to pulse polio program implementation and census duties. Practically everything is done by the government teachers. The exploitation does continue. Coming back to this, the teachers have been facing a lot of massive pay cuts, if they are being given any pay at all during this COVID-19 crisis. Salaries have not been given. Believe me, salaries have not been given to teachers. Many of them have not received salaries after February 2020. Many schools have relieved teachers during this COVID-19 crisis in India, and during many webinars which I am attending nowadays and through the network, I am coming to know of many principals who have resigned during this crisis. Being jobless hurts. What hurts more is the semblance of decency that principals across the country are trying to maintain by not saying that they've been asked to leave or their job has been terminated because the management wants to save on the salary during this period of lockdowns across the country. This eternal quest of trying to maintain decency is something which hurts the most. I'll get back to this later, but till that time, let me tell you that it's not all bad being a teacher. Believe me, for one, something which I do believe a lot in, and I say a lot in practically all my interviews, is being teacher is fun because I get paid for teaching or talking. I mean, you're paid for talking, that's it. Number of holidays. The interaction you have with the younger generation or the relevant one keeps you on your toes and doesn't involve a dull moment at all. So yes, these are the perks. Paid for talking is something which I've practically always quoted in all my interviews and will continue doing so. Now, people say a teacher's job is pretty easy. It is. Why don't they try to teach their own kids? Go in for homeschooling. Forget teaching. Why don't people try to tolerate their own kids? The teachers got to go through all this and behave in a proper manner. My own son, believe me, on being touched on the head slightly by a teacher in the school transport while misbehaving with his colleague, fooling around, horsing around, retorted, "Ma'am, next time you touch me, I'll go and make an FIR against you. I'll file an FIR against you." My own son. But then he's right, and he is in his rights. So the teacher, when she discussed this with me, I said, "Ma'am, be thankful you did not file an FIR. Otherwise, I would not have been able to save you." At a personal level, he was dealt with properly by his mother. when the teacher went home and talked to her, and she gave him a walloping of his life while serving the teacher tea. But then technically the kid was right. The ridicule teachers face, the name calling, that's all part and parcel of fun. But when it comes to trying to survive, this struggle of survival is something which, believe me, is what practically every teacher faces. The salary may be anything from 4,000 to 40,000 or 100,000. The expenses are usually equal to the amount the teacher is paid. Be it the EMIs for the vehicles or the expenses or the house loans. A teacher goes through a lot of financial juggling to make ends meet. The insecurity that teachers face, they may be removed from a job in the blink of an eye, is something which haunts teachers throughout. And then you got people who say, what's the big deal? What do? You don't do anything. All you do is talk and distribute knowledge. Yes, we do that. Agreed. And most of the time, between you and me, it's not something which is a big deal, at least for us. During the crisis, I've had a few people I know going around. If you got a problem with what's happening in the country and you got a problem with the situation which is happening, you stop talking and start doing something. You pay the fee for the children in your school. And on receiving a retort from yours truly, that yeah, send your kids to me, I will take care of them, I'll adopt them, I will support them. It got the same old. How can you talk like that because you're a teacher? That's not the way a teacher talks. What would you be teaching your kids? What I teach my kids is to be good or not get caught. But then that's different. So the public has a problem with paying fee for their own children, and want teachers or the school at least to forego it. The same people who are ready to give a premium for liquor bottles in Delhi, a premium of 70% for a liquor bottle in Delhi. The same people who don't think twice while ordering a pizza of 500 rupees have problems paying for the children's education. And the problem is because they don't have the decency in them. In a few meetings with the principals across the length and breadth of the country, virtual of course, a gentleman who I respect raised an issue. What other profession or work can a person indulge in if he's a teacher? Can a person who is a principal do anything else? Can a person think about setting a small shop to fend for himself or herself? Especially when that person has not been paid since February. He continues to say that yes, it can and may be done. But believe me, in a Kiryana or the grocery shop, the accounts are not maintained in green ink. The helplessness the teachers feel on a perpetual basis, and the bleak sense of impotency that teachers are going through during the COVID-19 crisis, during the lockdowns, is something which, to put it mildly, is demotivating. The ridicule and, of course, the barbs are never ending. Teachers and schools are indulging in online classes or the drama of online classes because they want to cheat parents out of the fee which is due. That hurts. I mean, learning how to use a phone and creating PowerPoints and slides and this and that, curating material over the internet. It is something teachers have been doing on a regular basis. Instead of being thankful, people say it's the drama of online classes to cheat parents out of money. Could be. Remember the time when the post offices and the banks were computerized across the country? Oh, what people had to suffer through. The attitude the officials gave, because they were not competent enough, and it took years, practically a decade, for the officers and the banks and the post offices to use the computers relatively well. The teachers have turned experts overnight. They are being ridiculed for it. And believe me, tomorrow you may walk into a bank and be greeted with the server is not working. The teacher's server does not have that going on for the teachers. So yes, teachers, believe me, are suffering through what they're going through. Teachers do face a lot of, you only talk, what work are you doing while we are doing that? And in spite of all that, believe me, teachers will continue providing for your children, taking care of them, because while the respect may not be available now, it is a teacher is still naive enough to think that he or she or it is working in the noble profession. Think about it. Till then, so long.